Okay, so there isn't any good audio for this first or few videos, as I don't have anything, just my phone. I'm here in Harris, Minnesota. I'm from Australia, and I'm in a very transitional space in my life. I have the same symphony going on in my head that's saying that this video isn't worth making, and it's something that's been on my head for a long time, on my mind, at the anterior of my mind, to just create something, and to keep putting out little expressions of the light, irrespective of if it goes anywhere or not. It's not articulate or eloquent. It's going to be very raw and messy. It's raining right now in a small little tiny home out here on some property. Staying with my girlfriend on a B2 visa, trying to get some kind of work here on an E3 as an Australian. At this, I don't really know specifically what I should speak about, but I wanted to talk about the fact that if anyone has this idea, which is something that I've had as well, is that there's like no slices of the pie left, or that everyone already occupies or has stretched their arms out and taken any kind of, which is, it's such a scarcity mindset anyway, but taken every subject that's seemingly of importance to you, or you feel like it's already been covered. But that doesn't really matter if it's been covered or not, because it doesn't mean that one person is going to reach the entirety of, consciousness. And I'm trying to not speak in such an esoteric way, like in some insane way. Like, I'm hoping this will reach the people that understand, or are trying to understand, like myself, and trying to break apart habituated identification with ego and with mind. So, you've probably heard every definition or term under the sun, like non-duality or whatever it is. One thing that I really like to describe it as is humans being the hands of God. Or something that you would call non-dual. I think I was going to read some writing that I did this morning because it had some structure to it at least. So this is going to be a very unstructured video, I suppose, and maybe it's just completely nonsense. But in my point of life right now, it's in a very uncertain place. Very much wanting to be a visual artist. I've had the past 5 years, I've had solo show every year since 2020, and it's been relatively successful, but definitely not enough to live on. And also with this journey of disidentification with mind and coming to presence, I've been felt like a bit of a internal warfare with focus and not wanting to contribute to more of the insanity of the world, and all of the talking heads and things like that's the reason why I didn't make why I didn't make any videos for a long time, is that I thought that I was going to contribute to the mass hysteria of misinformation and things like that, and I wanted to make sure that I was ready before. There's never a ready point. I can figure it out as I go, and hopefully don't set anyone astray. I think one thing I do want to touch on is any of the New Age spiritual types, or people that would present themselves as leaders, and I know this isn't, for the most part, people will see right through this, but anyone that's offering a blueprint or something to enlightenment for a price, I really think that is, as you would read in the parable in the Bible, which I'm learning to decode now in terms of presence and understanding conscious awareness, as opposed to a literal transcript of history, is wolves in sheep's clothing, those types of people. And they prey on desperate types that are struggling, like myself, for example, who's sitting in an unknown space and feels like they're falling behind or have fallen off completely and don't know where to set their roots, because that's something I've struggled with for a long time, is ever since I've started to open myself to this journey of seeking truth, is not wanting to cooperate in the world of insanity and mind identification, but also not knowing how to operate within that, knowing how struggling, toiling and with ego, especially. I've struggled with it in the arts, wanting to make something of myself there instead of just letting it be, the tongue of God speaking, which I have in my work. I think it's what I use my work for because I need it myself. But I think there's that gulf between that desire and then real experience of it. And so it's been more of a seeking works as opposed to feeling or doing, or the true understanding. Of course, this is just a completely unstructured rant again. I don't know how good the audio will be, but I think what I want to say, mostly the undertone of it, I'm sorry, it's there is a there's a vagueness to it, and it's nebulous and it's in nature, but is to just know that no matter how polished your light is, if it truly is light and it isn't for self-aggrandizement, and your intention isn't to elevate some false self and also set others into this, reducing others to a place of want or separation from God. Your light matters, and that's a bold and courageous act to put that forth, as polished, as unpolished, and as raw as it is, because it doesn't matter. I think one of the things that I struggle with is I struggle with perfection a lot. This is why I think it's important to do something like this, which is so imperfect, is to realize that in order to I don't want to use the word fight, but in order to integrate or overcome darkness, which we see in our world, is to put forth light. And there can never be enough of it. It can be overflowing, an overflowing cup. And it's not too much. But the importance of bringing forth light to others and into this world completely overcomes the dark. It's like that metaphor of just a single spark in a completely dark room, completely cloaked in darkness. A single spark of light will cut right through it. However, it's not just about a single spark, it's about great and various sparks constantly being pushed forth, so that the pendulum will swing in the collective consciousness towards that place of light, and embodying those spirits, those fruits of the spirit, which is our highest qualities or characteristics beyond the human sort of conditioned mind or cultural mind or whatever you want to call it. So bringing that forth is a bold and courageous act, irrespective of how polished it is. And not trying to benefit from others or trying to just bring it forth. It doesn't matter if it will turn into a lifestyle. I think this is the thing that we all get caught up with, is how can I survive? You just make it work, whatever you have to do to live in alignment with your values and to move towards an enlightened state where you are again in union with God or that universal intelligence or the deep or whatever you want to call it. And I know exactly what it feels like to not know how to operate in the world of form and materiality. As I'm in that place right now, it's trying to figure out very material solutions when my desires are just wanting otherwise. But you also have to realize that difficulty begets complexity and clarity. So it's almost trial by fire, or the reason why we're here, is like these difficulties get put in place to enforce or foment the universal law of evolution. Because if everything was heaven from the outset, it would be a stagnant cycle, perhaps. I don't want to go into this because this is something probably I don't know about too much. But I think that difficulty is there for a reason, of course, to be that fire beneath us and to push us inward. Because that's definitely where I'm at right now, in a place of great difficulty and internal suffering and pain, is that I can't help but go anywhere but inward. Otherwise, I'm in a constant state of consternation, worry, depression. And then also, the other thing as well, becoming more aware of the subconscious mind and my lack of presence within the world, is realizing how much I have lived my life in the past and in the future worry or anticipation, whether that be tremendous excitement or debilitating, deleterious worry and concern and fear. And then also reflection of the past, whether it be of trauma, victimization, self-victimization, or undue negativism, or violent emotionalism. These aspects or qualities of the pain body, as Eckhart Tolle speaks about. I sincerely hope that I can be more clear and concise, but I need to make this video so that I can get started, because I'm 31 years old now, and it's been too long waiting. But in a way, I feel like I'm more ready now than ever, so that I wouldn't set people astray, and that I have more experience and understanding of the inner world. But I'm definitely not at a place of enlightenment, and I'm definitely not at a place I just don't want to, maybe, I don't want to speak that out. But I just want to be an expression of light in this world. However I can be, even if it is a very unpolished, unrefined, and it is of lower reach or influence. I don't mind. I just want to contribute to the curtailment and the complete obliteration. Not complete, you know, that's very strong, but you know, to transmuting the darkness into light. Let's say that. Yeah, the transfiguration and transmutation of darkness into light. Because there's too much of it now. And I know there's a resurgence of spirituality and movement towards this space, but I feel like a lot of it is, you know, inauthentic and not lived. And then you just get caught up in the egoic and the false self. But I think we've had enough of it, and it's time to bring as much light into the anterior of the collective consciousness. I think that's all I wanted to speak about. I'm not even gonna bother editing this video. I'm just gonna post it online as it is. I want to send light out to anyone who sees this, even if, I guess maybe no one will see it. Alright. I hope you're well. And that you continue to bring yourself into a place of presence. If you're struggling with a bombardment of influence or psychological fragmentation, or any kind of like pain body or suffering internally through identification with your mind, I would suggest reading The Power of Now as a very simple guide to that. And then you don't have to pay some false prophet $50 a month for nothing to benefit themselves. But effectively, there are a few things, of course, like that can help you if you haven't read the book. One of them is trying to listen to silence. This space between where all things, all frequencies and vibrations and things like that erupt out of nothing and return to nothing. So it's trying to listen to the silence. Another is space. Not noticing the world of form so much, or the space that you're in as like a confined space, but the space which allows it to be. So there's the room, but there's that unseen space. And it sounds oracular and arcane, but it makes sense if you can sit with it in stillness. The other, more easier one that I'm having more success with right now is just noticing things in as much detail as you can. And you're just able to focus on the extreme detail of something, the extreme beauty of something. I would advise nature, the natural world, but if you can't, then in your immediate setting, you can focus on something that either is of beauty or, you know, bed sheets or something like that. But I would advise nature, the natural world. There's a lot of things in incredible detail, and there's an aliveness to it, and a symbiotic nature of nature. I'm still trying to understand other things, but that's what I have now. I will probably make more of these as things come to mind that I feel important as a bringing of light into this reality dimension. That's all. Goodbye.